In today's video, I'm blending paint on this black BMW 420i, and we're doing it the smart way. No full respray, just the door and fender, with part of the other fender blended in. Whether you're working in your garage or just want to avoid hard lines and mismatched panels, I'm going to show you exactly how to blend paint so smooth, you won't even tell where the repair starts. Take a look at this finish. Flawless blend on this black BMW 420i. We didn't paint the whole side, just the door and fender, and lightly blended into the other fender. No lines, no mismatches. It looks like it came straight out of the factory. Now let's rewind and I'll show you exactly how we did it. The damage was on the driver's side, so we masked off the rest of the car, only exposing the door and fender for paint. It's all about clean prep and smart masking. That's what sets the stage for a smooth blend before we even pick up the spray gun. All right, now we're starting with our first coat of base, but I'm not going in heavy. This stage is all about control. I begin by misting over the small white primer spots first, just to tint them slightly. We're not trying to fully cover anything right now, just a light, even pass to tone that primer in. From there, I start working into the surrounding areas, keeping my distance consistent and my spray pattern smooth. You'll notice I'm not flooding the surface. This coat is just a foundation. The trick here is to keep everything soft. Don't rush to hide the panel. We want a light, even dusting, that creates a nice transition zone. This way, the blend has room to melt in later. You'll also see I'm not spraying all the way out into the blend zone yet. All right, I've let the first coat flash off, and you can see exactly what I mean. This side still has some areas with no color yet, and that's perfectly fine. Look right here. No need to panic. The goal with the first coat isn't to cover everything. You're not supposed to soak the panel on your first pass. If you do that, you risk runs, heavy edges, and uneven coverage later. Instead, we build up the color gradually, layer by layer. That's what gives you a smooth transition and makes blending a lot easier. So don't rush it. Let the panel breathe between coats and focus on control more than coverage. Before we continue with our blending, I'm giving the panel a final clean using Techload. This helps remove any dust, fingerprints, or overspray that may have settled during flash-off. Blending works best on a clean, tack-free surface, so don't skip this step. It keeps the finish clean and avoids contamination in your final coats. Now we're on to the first coat of clear coat, and just like with the base, I'm not going in heavy. I'm starting inside the repair area, just over the base coat, and working my way out with a smooth, controlled pass. This first coat is what we call a wet but controlled layer. You're not trying to reach the blend edge yet. You want to build gloss gradually, so keep your distance and don't rush the flow. Let the clear settle naturally. This gives you a soft foundation for the second coat, where we'll stretch into the blend zone. So we're letting the first coat of clear flash off now. You can already see it starting to settle. Not fully glossy yet, just kind of leveling out. That's exactly what we want before we go in with our second coat. Now look, we're not scientists here. We're not trying to sound too technical. We just paint cars. But when you're blending, timing is everything. If you rush into your second coat too soon, you'll trap solvent and risk dull spots or peeling later. So we give it a few minutes, watch the surface, and once it gets that nice tacky feel, not wet, not dry, then it's ready for the next layer. Now it's time for the second coat of clear, and this one is where the magic happens. I start just like before, covering the repair area, but now I'm stretching the clear a little further out, working into the blend zone. You'll notice I don't just stop abruptly, I gradually reduce my trigger as I move out, letting the clear fade off softly. This is what creates that invisible transition. The key is to keep your distance consistent and move in a smooth, sweeping motion. No jerking or pausing. I'm also not trying to clear the whole panel. That's not necessary for this kind of repair. We're just melting the clear out gently, right where the color ends. Once I reach the edge, I feather the clear with a little air, no paint, just to help it settle cleanly into the panel. This gives it a soft edge that can be polished out later if needed and makes the blend completely undetectable. Let's take a moment to talk about blending, what it really means, and why it's one of the most important techniques in automotive painting. Blending isn't just about spraying paint into the next panel. It's about creating an illusion, making it look like the repair never happened. That takes control, patience, and understanding how paint reacts on different surfaces. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is trying to rush coverage or treat every job like a full respray. But with blending, it's the opposite. Less is more. You're layering just enough color to hide the repair and fade it into the original paint. The trick is knowing where to stop. When you're blending, especially on darker colors like black or gray, everything shows. Your spray pattern, overlap lines, even small dry spots. It all stands out. That's why your technique needs to be smooth and consistent, like you're gliding over the panel without forcing the paint on. And then there's lighting. Proper lighting is key. You need to see how the metallics lay, how the color reacts, and most importantly, how the clear coat is flowing. If you can't see what's happening in real time, it's hard to control the outcome. Another big part of blending is prep. A poor blend starts with poor prep. You have to scuff far enough out, clean everything properly, and control overspray. If the surface isn't ready, your blend won't melt in right, and you'll end up with a halo or texture change. Now let's talk about confidence. You don't have to be perfect with every pass. What matters more is understanding how to correct and adjust. That's what makes someone a real painter. Not just spraying, but knowing how to fix mistakes and still get a factory look. You'll also hear people talk about blending solvents or melting clears, and those help, no doubt. But don't rely on them to fix poor technique. They're just tools to help soften the edge if your blend is clean to begin with. At the end of the day, blending is an art. Every car, every panel, every curve, it's different. But once you understand the flow of your gun, the behavior of the paint, and how to work with light instead of against it, that's when your blends go from okay to invisible. It just takes practice, patience, and knowing that every pass is part of the final result. So take your time and let the blend do the talking.